Hello, guys. This is from Mrs. Abby. Welcome to episode 2 of the series called Dracaena Types and Care Tips. Today, I'm going to share some Dracaena care tips about Dracaena Brown tips and causes of Dracaena Brown leaves. This video will be done in 2 videos. This is the first video. The second video will come sometimes this week. So let's get started with the Dracaena care tips. Dracaena care tip 1. Before deciding to start a Dracaena plant collection, experiment with them. Before I decided to buy a lot of Dracaena types, I would experiment with them. I would first buy a few different small Dracaena types, usually 2 of the same type in 4-inch pots before I go on to buy larger ones like this Dracaena cornstalk. I would experiment with the types of water it can tolerate, how much water it can tolerate, the light tolerance level, the humidity level it can tolerate, and the inside temperature it enjoys. I will watch the roots to see if there's any problems, and if I find problems, I would find out what's causing the problem. I would keep a check on the soil to see if it contains the proper amount of nutrients the Dracaena plant needs. I would discover any type issues it would have with fungus, bacteria, or pest infestation. I would do this for several months, sometimes 6 months, before I commit to investing in Dracaena varieties. After I've completed my experiments, I would document it to share it with you guys in videos and in written forms. As you all can see, I have about 6 or 7 different Dracaena types right now. I've owned other types but have sold or given them away. I think I'm pretty knowledgeable about how to care for Dracaena types, and I wanted to share what I've learned. Just know that not all Dracaenas require the same care, so this series is about most Dracaena type care, but not about all of them. The next tips, I will share some information I've learned from my experience of owning Dracaena types. Dracaena care tip number 2. A lot of Dracaena type plants are very sensitive to unfiltered tap water. When I first started with the Dracaena plants, I discovered that they can get brown tips very quickly. Like I said, I always buy 2 of the same type. So I will water one with the regular unfiltered tap water from my faucet. The other one, I use filtered water or bottled water. When I noticed that the Dracaena that was being watered from regular unfiltered tap water was getting brown tips, I stopped using tap water. So next, I would Google what's in the tap water that could possibly be causing the Dracaena tips to brown. This is what I learned from researching tap water and how it impacts your houseplants. I learned that some plants are very sensitive to the fluoride in the tap water. So I quickly learned that using tap water that contains fluorides can sometimes harm your indoor plants. Here's why. The fluoride can build up in the soil of the Dracaena plant and cause issues with the plant. Now, after learning that, I needed to know how to get rid of the fluoride buildup so my Dracaenas could start being healthy and not get any more brown leaves. Now remember that once a leaf gets brown tips, there's nothing you can do about that except to trim the brown off of the tips. So since fluoride can cause the Dracaena plant tips to turn brown, it's very important to know what type of water you are using and what's in the water you are using to water the Dracaena plant. I have several plants that are sensitive to the fluoride in the tap water. There are several things you can do when it comes to using tap water with fluoride to water your plants and not have to worry about it. One, you can simply not use it and instead use bottled water. Two, you can put a filter on your tap water faucet. There are many water filters you can buy for your faucet, but remember, not all water filters are created equal. There are some filters that don't filter out fluoride from your tap water, so be careful when buying water filtering systems. Finally, three, you can take the tap water that contains the fluoride and place it in an uncovered container and let it sit uncovered for at least 24 hours. I let mine sit uncovered at least 48 hours or more. Now you got to remember that it is very hard to get rid of some chemicals in your tap water. And I think the fluoride is one of those things that's hard to get rid of. But I learned this tip from a lot of sources online. I don't know whether doing this actually gets rid of the fluoride or not, but I do know that when I started doing this, my Dracaenas got less brown tips and brown spots. Now my hubby still uses the tap water to water all my plants, but I only use tap water to water some of my plants. I know which ones are sensitive to the tap water and which ones are not. He only waters them sometimes, so watering them with tap water sometimes never seems to hurt any of my plants, whether they are sensitive or not. I'm going to do a video on what types of plants that I have that are fluoride sensitive. Hopefully I will get around to doing that video soon. Dracaena plant care tip number 3. Dracaena plants are sensitive to some ingredients found in potting mixtures. After learning about the sensitivity that Dracaena have when it comes to certain types of water, I also learned that the ingredients found in some potting soil that your Dracaena is planted in could also contribute to the brown tips or brown spots on the leaves. Yes, some plants are very sensitive to certain ingredients in the potting soil. Here's what I discovered after doing research and doing experiments. I learned that there are two types of ingredients in the potting mixtures that can present problems for your Dracaena and cause leaf problems, such as brown tips and brown spots on the leaves and more leaf coloring problems. Here are the two ingredients that I discovered can cause leaf problems. 1, perlite, and 2, fertilizers. The problem with this discovery is I couldn't experiment the way I wanted to with the soil. So I repotted both of the same type Dracaenas. I used two different types of potting mixtures. One mixture I added a little perlite to the mixtures and the other I didn't. I repotted both plants and watched to see what happened. What I learned was that the plant in the mixture with the perlite got a little brown spots on the leaves, but not that much. Whereas the one without the perlite didn't get brown spots at all. I want to do an experiment with the fertilizer too, but I didn't because I'm afraid of putting too much fertilizer and causing more damage than can be repaired. Adding fertilizer to your plants and not knowing whether your plants needed it is much more dangerous than overwatering or underwatering, I believe. So all I can tell you about fertilizing the Dracaena is I don't fertilize mine, but what I do is remove some of the topsoil and some of the soil from around the side of the plant, and I replace it with fresh soil mixture that already has some fertilizer in it to give it some much needed nutrients. I have a video explaining why I don't use fertilizer. I will leave a link to that video in the description box. I also have a video sharing some good information on potting mixtures and the ingredients it needs to provide the proper amount of nutrients and drainage. I will leave a link to that video in the description too. Tip number 4. Get rid of all buildups in your plant soil. Please remember that whether it's the fluoride in the tap water, or the ingredients in the tap water, the ingredients in the potting soil, or the fertilizer, they all can build up in the soil over time and can cause damage to your indoor plants. It is like salt buildup in the soil. To have healthy plants, you need to get rid of the buildups. The best way to get rid of buildup of anything in the soil or your plants is to flush the soil of the plants at least once or twice a year. I have a video showing you how to flush salt buildup. The link to that video will be in the description. It is a really good video that can help with flushing all your indoor plants from a lot of buildups, especially salt buildup. Tip number 5. There are other things I've learned that can cause brown tips and leaf issues, as well as the fluoride in the water and some ingredients in the potting mixture. I will discuss those in the next episode. I didn't want to mix that information with this because I wanted to focus more on the buildup of those things and how salt buildup can damage your indoor plants. Knowing the above tips and understanding them, along with getting rid of all the buildups in the soil, can put you on a fast track of having a beautiful and healthy Dracaena Type collections. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. And I see you in the next video. Bye, guys.